I just got home. I don't even have the title right. I just came right on here. I don't even have the title right. I had a great time tonight. I hope that you guys enjoyed what DFJ did. I really do. Because he's awesome. Had a great Passover. And everything was going great. Had a really, really nice night. And Passover's a time to be spent with family. And all of a sudden, we turn on the game with the last 2.5 minutes. And that was just one of the worst heartbreaks I've experienced in a while. That was a loss. That was just a reality check that this franchise is cursed. Why am I on here? Well, I thought maybe this would help me. I thought maybe talking to you guys would just help me. I'm still shocked at how they lost that game. I don't even know if people actually watch like my actual podcasts, like when they're not live. This isn't really a podcasting channel. This is really a play-by-play channel. And I get that. But this felt like a Game 7 loss. It really did. This felt like I can't even process how they lost this game. I didn't even watch the first 45 minutes. 44, really. But with the way that thing ended, to say shocked is an understatement, but this really felt like this was a stab in the heart. Again, I didn't even change the title. I'm going to do that right now. I just came home. And I just wanted to come on here. Because I wiped some tears away. I remember when Kawhi hit the shot. Okay. I remember when Kawhi hit that shot in the Game 7. To be honest, I didn't want to leave my room for like a day. Because that's how heartbroken I was. This right here, it makes no sense. Nick Nurse clearly called a timeout after that inbound play. Clearly called a timeout. I thought at first, why did he not call a timeout? And he did. Only the Sixers would lose this game. Only the Sixers. I never thought that a basketball team, in my wildest dreams, would ever get me this upset. I got problems, I guess. But that's what sports does. I opened up the Discord lines. This is a therapy session today. And I'm usually an optimist, man. I really am. I'm usually an optimist. And I look at things from a brighter side. It is so hard after this game to look at something that was bright. And this game wasn't just on the refs. The Sixers out-rebounded the Knicks the whole entire game. They held Jalen Brunson. But I'll tell you one thing. Lowry has to hit that foul shot. I'll tell you another thing. Maxey has to hit that layup. I know that we're going to call the refs out for this game, as we should. But those other things down that stretch have to happen. Maxey had the flu tonight, and yet was a stud. But no, that's all going to get wiped away because this team lost. And just seeing the tears on Joel's face. It's blood, sweat, and tears. I don't know how they lost this game. Am I really going to report, anything new, I guess, compared to the other Sixers content creators? Probably not. This is raw emotion. I had such a good time tonight with my family. And yet, I had to watch that 8-0 run over 30 seconds. I don't curse on my channel. Over 30 seconds to lose that game. What else do you want me to say? Maxey was good. Maxey played his butt off. Embiid did play his butt off, even though he has to rebound during that last possession. Why can't we have nice things, man? Maybe I'm just preaching to the choir. I don't even have anything to say about Tobias. I didn't really get to watch it, so I'm not going to be hard on him. I heard that he played good, solid defense in that third quarter. But they did everything that they had to, and yet they lost that game. How am I supposed to feel good about the rest of the series? It's not over. I know. I know it's technically not over. But this was a punch in the heart. Now, the good news about this is that you have 3 days off. And then in between the next game, you have another 3 days off. They can still make this a series. There's no doubt about it. I still think it's going to 7 games. I do. But I don't think the Sixers are going to win 7 now. It's going to be really tough, man. It really is. The series is not over. I don't think they're going to win in 7, though. Not the way that tonight played out. An 8-0 run over 30 seconds. Somebody brightened my day in the chat. I just wanted to come on here and just give initial raw reactions based on what I saw. And again, shout out to DFJ for, being on here tonight. I know that this is not a podcasting channel, and I kind of want to make it into one, but who knows who's really going to even watch this like the next day? Who really cares? We're just a play-by-play, Who cares about that? Are we not going to talk about how another lucky bounce just happened as well? And I mean lucky in the time. Of course there's going to be lucky bounce shots that happen during a game. But every time there's just something against us. What is it? KD, this team's just unlucky. What do I think went wrong? And look, I'm not mad at you. An 8-0 run over the last 30 seconds. Nick Nurse tries to call for a timeout. Refs say no. Twice. Maxey doesn't have control of the ball after freaking Brunson makes a three. Maxey also hit a big three with like 40 seconds to go. That's going to go unnoticed. Nobody cares because guess what? They lost. They played good defense on Brunson, but they lost. They out-rebounded the Knicks, but they lost. Man. I'm never the one that gets angry. I'm never the one that gets sad. I'm never the one that really gets like this. And it feels so uncomfortable. If somebody wants to come onto the Discord, by all means, please. Please. Are we also not going to talk about how literally this team challenges a foul that should have never been called on on Kyle Lowry? It was an offensive foul. And yet, I don't know, man. Koo's here. I want to get Koo to come on, bro. I'll invite you to come on to speak. All right. If you are here, Koo, make sure you come on. I don't really know what else there is to say. I really don't. It was a gut punch. It absolutely was. It really was. Koo's here. All right, come on, my guy. I just invited you twice. Please come on. BS foul calls, I'm so disappointed. Yeah, you want analysis on tonight's game? You're not really going to get it. This is just gut punch. This felt like a Game 7 loss. And yet, to be honest, I can't really be mad at the team. I can't. I don't know what else there is to say. Cool, if you can hear me, message me. If you want me to call you, I can call you too. I don't understand why it's not working. Let me try to call. Ready to start call. Enjoy the moment, then jump in when you're ready. Let me see. Alright, I'm going to call Koo. See if he picks up. Nobody's currently in. Let's try it again. See if we can get him on. Try to call him. Let's try this. Let's try to call him. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Alright, I'm trying to call him. Nobody joins the Discords, man. Nobody joins these calls. I really want to give other people a chance, but I also know, again, it's not a play-by-play channel. You know? Alright, well, he didn't pick up. He didn't pick up, so maybe he doesn't want to talk. It's fine. It is what it is. We can try another way. I know that we're still rising, but whatever. Alright, how about now? Let's try to invite him again to speak if he wants to come on. At least you had a good time with your family, man. I did. But I don't know. I want to cry. That is a good thing. Yep. I know. I don't know how we're going to stomach the next 2 games. But you know what? At the end of the day, guys, this is the fan in me. I got a job to do, right? This is why I do these pods. Because I can let my inner fan out. On the play-by-plays, if I want to do this professionally, it's not what I really should be doing, you know? I can't be getting this emotionally attached. So that's why I save these things for the pods. And maybe I should make another channel separately for it. Maybe that's what I should do, because this is not my play-by-plays. And the play-by-plays aren't going to get... The play-by-plays get a lot, but because I don't really do any pods, they're not going to look at it like that. Thanks for the chat. Well, again, that's what this platform is for. And again, I have a Discord for a reason. If you want to come on and actually, like, talk, right? Because this is a therapy session. That's what I'm doing on here. I want to give you guys a platform to speak your mind too. So that way you don't just have to type things out. You can actually voice your stuff. That's why I do this. And again, I'm not mad at anybody. I'm just so disgusted that they lost this game. Only the Sixers lose this game, man. Only the Sixers lose this game. There was something that the league just doesn't like about this team. I don't know what it is. And it's not just the refs. The basketball gods too, man. This team this year had the right makeup. They are the most cursed team that I've ever seen. The injuries. Some of the games with the refs. Some of the shots that just did not go in, man. That should have went in. The play-in tournament. All these things, man. I know that we won that play-in game, but we should have never even been in the play-in tournament. And yet Milwaukee loses on purpose the very last day. And the Knicks just went out the rest of the way. I'm not saying that the season is over. I'm venting right now. And for those people the other day, this is what I want to say, man. For those people the other day that said that I was being too emotional just over one game, how you feeling now? Huh? How you feeling now? They had the chance to win game one when they did, and they didn't do it. Are we feeling good? Are we really feeling good about the rest of the series? It is so hard to find a positive. That's right. That's right. That's 1,000% right. And again, I'm not doing this on my play-by-plays. This is why I have this channel. I think we're going to stay on here. I think that we're going to stay on here just to have a vending session. I was on DJ's chat. I told him that I had tears rolling down my face. Thanks for not being mad at me. No, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm just disappointed. I think we're all sad. Actually had the flu, and yet almost gave you a triple-double. Should he have made that last layup? Yes. Was it a good play call? It absolutely was. Should Kyle Lowry have made that foul shot? Yes. I believe that we can win these next two games. I don't think we're going to get swept. I know that this felt like it was a Game 7 loss. But if you tell me that I feel optimistic going forward about this series, I do not. They should have won this game. And this is why. This is exactly why I'm pissed that they did not win the first game, because they had the chance to do it. This game is disappointing. Yeah, it's aggravating, but this is just gut punch, man. That first game was a chance for them to just go on top. That's what I'm disappointed about. I'm disappointed about how this game ended, and I'm more sad about this game. But again, do I feel as devastated if they win that first game? Not at all. And again, to those of you that thought that I was being too emotional over the first game, this is why. This is exactly why. Now, I do have to plug in my laptop. So let me do that real quick, because I forgot that I didn't even plug it in. Oops, hopefully I didn't press the wrong button there. Alright, give me 1 sec.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, Larry? How you doing?
Hey.
Hey.
Can you hear me?
Coming on. Yep, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Nah, this was soul crushing. That was just crushing. They're 5-point lead with 30 seconds left. Just play it out, play the foul game, and then all of a sudden, they don't give them a timeout. They don't call a foul when they're ripping the ball out of Maxi's hands, and they're hitting these crazy threes. In a couple seconds, all of a sudden, they're behind. their lead just evaporated in like seconds.
Larry,
I thought they had the game.
Larry, it was an 8-0 run in 30 seconds. An 8-0 run in 30 seconds. And the shot that was first hit by Brunson, it hit the front of the rim. The front of the rim.
Yeah.
And it just went in. Defied physics, as you would say.
Yeah, it was like the Kawhi triple doink or whatever. It was like that all over again.
Yeah. I don't know how you feel optimistic. And see, Larry, this is why I'm more devastated about this loss, but I'm still pissed. I'm still angry that they couldn't win game one, because guess what? This could have been prevented. I'm not saying, let me take that back. We still feel crushed, but we don't feel as crushed if they just would have gotten more rebounds and shown more effort in game one. They left a lot of meat on the bones in game one, and they had the chance to just take that game. And I felt like because of that, this is how we feel after this type of a game.
Yeah, they left meat on the bones on both games. There's really no way they should have lost both of these games. I mean, they should have won one at least. I mean, they didn't play well enough, but they were in position. You know, they missed some shots. They rebounded better than they usually do when you just look at the numbers. But in crunch time, when it really mattered late in the games, that's when they were getting boxed out, not getting rebounds, giving up second and third chances. And then the breaks did their way on top of that, and they end up losing both games. Yeah, if they come away with a win in either one of those, you'd be disappointed that they didn't win the other one, but they take a split. And, you know, they were in position. They should have got at least a split. And to not get either one, is just, I don't know, it's tough. I'm not completely down on them. I still have hope. The way they played, I think they win at home. If they win 2 games at home, it's like at the beginning of the series again. It's a best of 3, and you got to steal one on the road.
True.
And they were in position that they could have won either of those, which tells me 4 games down the line from now, playing a game that they have to win on the road, I think they can do it. I mean, I don't know if they will. Who knows? The breaks might not go their way. They might get bad calls or bad bounces. They might not give enough effort down the stretch when it comes to rebounding or whatever, but maybe they will do that stuff. You know, I'm not completely, I don't think they're out of the picture yet.
I'm usually not somebody that goes after people in the comments, but Andy, I've never seen you even comment on here, and yet, like, you're telling me don't even bring DFJ on anymore. I'm going to do whatever the heck I want, man. DFJ knows his stuff, and guess what? There's not a lot of people that I know that can even do, like, the play-by-plays like the way that I do it. And obviously everybody else, like, has a different style on here. So I never even seen you comment on my channel before. And now all of a sudden you want to comment. I'm going to do it how I do it, man. And other people may disagree, and I'm okay with you expressing your opinion on that, but you know, I'm gonna do it the way I do it, man. That's all I wanted to say. But Larry, going back to your point, man, it is so hard to find any piece of optimism, because this really felt like this was a Game 7 loss, and I know that they can defend home court, and I expect them to. I expect them to do so. I still think it's going to go 7. But I just, with the track record that this team has, I feel like the magic is all lost. I felt like this, and I know that we're just in the moment, But this really feels like it's even worse than the Phillies collapse. I don't know. I don't know if you're there yet. I know that we have to wait and see how this rest of the series plays out, but I am so torn that they lost this game the way that they did. An 8-0 run within the last 30 seconds, man. That is just unbelievable. And to be honest with you, I don't ever blame the game on the refs, but the refs owe the Sixers an apology. Nick Nurse called a timeout twice at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And they just weren't looking. The refs weren't
They were
looking.
They looked right at him.
Yeah.
I saw a replay that showed him looking right at him, and he signaled timeout, and they just ignored it. They saw it. They were looking. The one ref at least was looking right at him and didn't give him the timeout. No. I mean, that was just total home cooking. I mean, I thought the refereeing was, kind of skewed towards the Knicks to begin with, but the home team usually gets better calls. And like I don't like to blame the refs. It's a tough job. And
I hate doing that. I hate doing that. I hate
ultimately, that. It wasn't their fault it wasn't the refs' fault that the Sixers lost. That was the Sixers' fault. But yeah, that didn't help. But I'm thinking it's not going to happen when they're at home.
I don't know.
If they got to hold serve at home. If they can do that and it's back to 2-2, you got a series. And what if the one game they win on the road is game 5? They can come back home with a chance to close it out.
Well, then they have to win game 6. There's if they defend home court, we essentially need them to win 4 games in a row.
Right.
That's exactly what we need. And again, I know that the series is not over. I'm not saying that it is. I love Nick Nurse, and I think that Nick Nurse did a heck of a job coaching. I really do. I really think that the Sixers just had bad luck. I really, really do, with the way that things unfolded at the end. I still don't think that Tobias Harris needs to be closing out these games, and I'm still a little annoyed that he is, and that I do have to blame. I don't fully blame the head coach for that. The politics on just how the GM loves this guy and then needs this guy to play. I cannot stand it. But also at the same exact time, I will also say that, guess what? Like, as much as I don't blame refs for this one, it certainly really felt like, especially during those last 2 minutes, that the refs really blew a lot of calls. And even the one play where the Sixers challenged it and Kyle Lowry didn't even foul there on, I think it was Isaiah Hardenstein with like 56 seconds to go. That was an offensive foul. Yeah. And I don't know how in the world New Jersey or wherever the replay center is, I don't understand what the official rule was on why they didn't call it an offensive foul, because Lowry didn't even move. He had his feet set and everything, and that should have been called an offensive foul. And let's be honest, like, we can look at so many aspects of the game. Lowry has to make that second foul shot, man. I know that nobody's going to talk about that, but I have to bring that up too, because he has to do that. And I'll also say that Joel Embiid, even though that shot right there by Brunson was so lucky, after that play, when they inbounded to Tyrese Maxey, and I know that Nurse is calling for the timeout and whatever, and Lowry has to throw it in, and Hart comes up with a steal or whoever it was, there was a second chance opportunity. Brunson tried to hit a 3 again or somebody, and Hardenstein just comes in, and there's nobody boxing him out. Joel has to box him out there. There's no doubt about it. Why is he just standing around and just going to the top of the perimeter? You can't do that there, man. I don't care if you're out rebounding them that entire game. You gotta box him out there.
Yeah. Yeah, they hit the first.
Yep.
the Sixers get the ball there, it could be a different ending, and yet they get another opportunity and then hit the second three that iced it. That was a big, not even having a chance to get that rebound.
And then the other thing, too, I thought that Nick Nurse drew up a really good play out of the timeout, but Maxey has to hit that layup. I watched that again, even in the car. He has to hit that layup. There were a couple of plays where even Tobias had Jalen Brunson holding his jersey clearly. That should have been called a foul, and they just didn't call that. But yet, like earlier in the game, they called that for the Knicks. It just makes no sense. I'm usually not the one that says that the refs helped the Sixers lose this game or whatever, but it really felt like that they just were not helping them at all. There was like no call that just went the Sixers' way. Tyrese Maxey doesn't get any calls, and he deserves them. He really does. Embiid does get a lot of calls, but even tonight, there were some calls I thought that he deserved to get. But I know that there's just I'm just shattered, man. I'm really shattered. I had such a good night tonight with my family, and Passover was awesome. And then we turned on the last 3 minutes of that game, and I just my jaw is still I still am jaw dropped by how they lost that game. I can't figure out. Only the Sixers lose that game.
Right. Yeah. This is the most Philadelphia way and the most Sixers way to lose that game.
Yeah.
Like no other team loses that game that way, except whoever it was. Was it the Knicks that lost when Reggie Miller went crazy at the end of that game?
Yeah.
But that's Reggie Miller. He's a Hall of Famer. The Knicks don't have a Reggie Miller. It's one thing if a guy like that does that and he's just that good, and it's just single-handedly a Hall of Famer just has an epic ending to a game and beats you, okay. But these guys on the Knicks, they're not Reggie Miller, You got beat by whoever it was. DiVincenzo hits a three, and I don't even know who hit the other three. They're not – these are not Hall of Famers beating you. This is the Sixers beating themselves. That was just such a gut punch.
Yeah.
Because at 30 seconds up by 5, you're thinking, okay, we got some breathing room. I can relax. We'll get a split. You're thinking all those things will come home with a split. They could have won the first game too, and that was disappointing. But with a win in the second game, it doesn't hurt as much. And then that happens. And it's just like jaw-dropping. It's just like a gut punch. You're just like, what?
Ty, I'm not saying that the Stars didn't leave it on the floor. They did. Obviously, they put 100% effort out there. I still think that Joel needs to get that rebound though, man. There's no doubt about it. And I still think Tyrese Maxey has to hit that shot. I know that he was clutch. And I know that he hit that big time three. But man, the game was on the line, and guess what? He didn't make the shot, man. There wasn't really a foul there. It was just the play was drawn up for Tyrese Maxey, and he didn't make that shot. Guess what? You don't make the shot, it's on you. Doesn't matter how good of a game you have. You got to hit those shots. And yet, he hit a really big-time shot when he did with 45 seconds to go. A big-time three. But I still think he had to hit that layup. I didn't really see any sort of foul. I didn't see any sort of contest. I think he usually hits that layup with that burst of speed. And he didn't do it there. So I'm not saying that it's all his fault. I'm saying that he should definitely hit that, but sometimes that's just how sports go. Who capitalizes on the mistakes? That's how sports is. but there's a lot of reasons why we should feel disappointed. I'm not saying that the sole purpose is on Tyrese Maxey or Joel Embiid. I'm just saying that I am a little bit mad that they didn't do those last two things that I said, because Embiid should have been boxing Isaiah Hardenstein out. There's no doubt about it. We're blaming Tobias Harris if whatchamacallit makes that shot in the Miami game, because he left his man wide open. But guess what? He didn't make the shot. So we're not really talking about it. If he hits that shot, we're talking about it, man. Kyle Lowry misses that one free throw. Guess what? If he hits that free throw, it's a tie game, man. Even if they do go on like that 8-0 run, it's a tie game. So every little thing matters. It's funny how sports go like that, and I think Larry would agree with that.
Yeah, Joel missed a free throw down the stretch too, which he usually doesn't do. Yeah, what bothers me is that you look at like the stats, Maxey and Embiid, looks like they played well when you look at the numbers, and they did play pretty well. But there's certain things in crunch time, at the biggest moments of the game, where they didn't come through. That's what bothers me.
Yeah.
You know, somebody who has good numbers on paper, and you look at the stats and go, well, that guy's pretty good. You know, I want that guy. But you gotta do it when it matters. You can't play well. I mean, overall, the team, I've been kind of concerned about the rebounding, because they're not a great rebounding team, and they out-rebounded the Knicks tonight. That's good. That's what you want to do, you know? That's better than I expected, and yet they didn't get rebounds at the very end in crunch time when the game was on the line. So I don't care that they got the other rebounds. That overall, the numbers show
Correct.
that they out-rebounded the
Correct.
Knicks. It doesn't matter when
Just
you don't
like,
get that one, when you don't box out.
Correct.
And they get a second try at that three.
Correct.
At the end. Those other things just...
Those are the same people.
Anymore.
Those are the same people that say that, oh, Ben Simmons played really good defense on Trae Young, like, you know, throughout the whole entire Atlanta Hawks series. Guess what? Did Ben Simmons put up any points in the fourth quarter over those last four quarters in games 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7? No. Okay, he held Trae Young to like 6 points or like 8 points or whatever, and like 1 for 12 from shooting, but guess what? They lost. And he didn't come up big when they needed him to. And I'm not saying that I'm not comparing Tyrese Maxey or Joel Embiid to that. I'm just saying that you can play solid defense on somebody. You can out-rebound somebody. Look, they held Jalen Brunson, and they did a good job on him tonight. But guess what? It didn't matter if they played good defense on him like tonight or even the other night or even in game 1. They lost. That's the result. It's a results league. That's just how it is.
That's what worries me. They didn't have the will to win when it mattered.
Correct.
You know, they played well enough that it looks good on paper. You know, They got their stats. Yeah. If you look at it on paper, you would have thought the Sixers won. You know, but they just didn't come through when you needed them to. And it's not like you just, you know, put up a shot and it didn't go in. It was really things like, you know, like you said, Embiid not boxing out there. That's like mental mistakes. It's not just bad luck. It was poor play in crunch time when it really matters late in the game in both games.
And poor officiating too.
That doesn't help. But you got to overcome that. And they didn't overcome it. You know, if they did, we're not even talking about it.
Correct.
You gotta overcome it. That's the thing that worries me going forward, that they don't have a killer instinct. They're not playing with heart, you know?
Yeah. I saw Joel cry tonight during that press conference. And I still, and again, I'm going to say this again, as heartbreaking as tonight was, and as much as it felt like a Game 7, the series is not over. I just see the series going to 7 games, And now I don't know if the Sixers can win in 7. I can definitely see them protecting home court for sure. I see them winning the next 2 games. I actually see a blowout in like maybe game 4. Maybe game 4 they blow out the Knicks. The problem is what's going to happen in game 5. Because game 5 then becomes that important. And that's the pivotal part of the series. It is. If they lose, but I think Larry's going to agree with me with this, and Larry, chime in. If they do lose game 3, though, it's over.
Yeah. I think if they win both games at home and then lose game 5, it's probably over too.
Yeah.
I think they have to win both games at home and then win game 5 on the road somehow.
I think that they have to win game 5 too.
Yeah, they have to have a game like tonight where they're in a position to win late in the game and they close it out.
Correct.
Instead of having an epic choke. They're gonna have to do that. Because that's what it takes.
The thing that scares me, right, exactly. The thing that scares me is that I don't even know if the Knicks have anybody that can like close out games. Like I know that Josh Hart did it the last time, even though Josh Hart really doesn't close out games like that. But the Sixers have the better team, and I know that Joel's knee is not 100%, but I need him to be a superstar. I need him to be. I need him to put up a masterful performance in game 3 and 4. I just need that. I don't know what else to say. I feel it just feels weird, and I feel like I'm going in circles. And again, like I had tears going down my face because this really felt like it was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, look at it from the other point of view. The Knicks, I mean, they're at home, which helps, and that's really because of Embiid's injury, or they would have been on the road.
Yeah,
they were getting the calls.
Yeah,
they somehow managed to hit those 2 threes at the end.
They should feel happy.
And one of them with a second chance. I mean, everything that could have gone right for the Knicks did go right for them. They don't have an Embiid on their team, and Embiid hasn't taken over. I want to see him take over and be dominant for stretches, It doesn't have to be the whole game. I want to see the Embiid we saw during the season for stretches of time in these games. So what's the likelihood that they're going to keep getting these shots to fall and the calls to go their way? And Embiid and Maxey to play okay, but with a little bit of looking kind of timid at times, Right. Is that going to keep up for the whole series? Everything that the Knicks needed to happen has happened for them so far. What if that doesn't keep happening? What if they're not getting all the calls? Yeah. What if those late shots aren't dropping? The Sixers could win the next 4 games. It could happen.
Let me ask you something.
The Knicks could come back to who they really are, and the Sixers can play like they did, mid-season and just dominate. That
true.
Could happen.
Yes. No, I still think that they can definitely. I'm not saying that I would be shocked if the Sixers win. I just don't know after this type of a heartbreaking loss how you come back. But the good news, that's yes, exactly. The good news is that they have 3 days off. And then after game 3, if they win again, they get another 3 days off. And then it's game 4. I do think that is on their side now. And obviously they are going home. But this feels like that their backs are against the wall. And not only that, but this feels like all the weight is now on their shoulders in regards to just this type of team that they have. Because if they don't win, if they still lose the series, I don't care if it's against the Knicks, it's a failure of a season.
Yeah.
It is it is still a failure of a season. Tyrese Maxey has taken a lot of great steps, and I'm not there yet because I know that the series is not over officially, but there's just no doubt that after tonight that this felt like it was just so heartbreaking. Now, they have a chance if they can really dominate in Game 3 and blow this team out. We might be having a different conversation. We might be all bought back in. But that's the thing, is that this team, I still feel like that. I still feel like that there's a slight chance that they can still win this series, and yet I'm going to say it's the freaking Sixers. Even if they lose or if they win, it's going to be damn, typical Sixers. Just bringing everybody down after these heartbreaking losses, and then it's well, what if they win this series? And now it's well, of course they won the series because it's the freaking Sixers. And the same thing if they lose. If they lose, again, it's typical Sixers. This is the most cursed team I think I can ever remember. I mean, and you've been following them even just throughout this entire year. They've just had terrible luck.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you can say. I really don't.
Do you think the moment is a little too big for Maxey? You know what I'm saying?
I think that he had clutch shots down the stretch. I really do. He had a big three with 44 seconds to go. I just still think that he's 23 and yet he's still a kid. And he has to experience losing. His timeline is not on the same timeline as Joel Embiid. I think that in the NBA, out of all the other sports, it is a grown man's league. Well, kind of like the NFL too. The people that are experienced are going to find ways to win. Jordan didn't really dominate the league. He did. He was really good in his early years, but he didn't really start winning championships until he was 30 years old. And then they started coming. Yeah. Experience is the best teacher, and I think that Tyrese getting this experience at this young of an age is going to help. I just think that it's going to take him time for him to, be that true number one. He's shown a lot of flashes, but I think that he has to go through failing in order for him to come out on top.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Okay.
But what about you?
Yeah. Well, it's the going through failing part that sucks. We gotta go through. We gotta go through it with him. We gotta watch it and be disappointed, and maybe at some future point that experience will pay off. And he'll know what it's like to have these soul crushing losses, and he'll be able to put it all together.
Yep.
And everything like we hope. But in the meantime, it really sucks.
It does.
Having to go through this.
There's no doubt about it. I don't think that. I mean, I think that even when the Phillies lost, game 4, and even game 5, of when the Phillies lost, I was angry. I was angry. This, I'm just sad. I'm just disappointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like this is a different type of a feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it. And again, I'm happy that you're on here because I do look at it a little bit differently now. Because I still think it's going 7. At least it's going to go 6. But the Sixers are going to have to win out. There is no doubt about it. And I wanted to ask you, because I didn't really get to watch most of the game, did Nick Nurse to your recollection, ever go to the, as I like to call it, the Reed Bead lineup, like where both bigs were in there? Like, did he go to that Reed and Bead lineup? Do you remember if he ever did that at times for a rebounding purpose?
No, not that I recall.
Okay. I think
maybe in the first half at some point I might have missed it, but not that I remember.
I still think that has to happen at the end. I want my big... If it's a close game, I'm sorry, I want my big guys out there. I want my biggest lineup out there on defense.
Yeah.
I need size, because apparently this Knicks team is just so good at rebounding, even when you out-rebound them. And if it's a close game, I need my biggest guns out there.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can out-rebound them, but it doesn't matter when you don't get those key rebounds at the end.
Yeah.
That's what you need.
Yeah, that's how I feel. But anyhow, before I let you go and before I end this thing, I actually do feel a lot better in some ways. I'm still numb, and I probably am still going to be for a little bit of time. But I don't know. I guess it's hard to say this. Do you think that there's still hope?
Oh yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I have hope, and I'm one of those real pessimistic Philly fans. You know.
That's why I like this. Yep.
And I'm one of those people who's like, oh, it's over. Forget it. It's over. You know.
See, this is why I feel a little bit more optimistic, because like, look, I'm usually never like this. I'm usually like the optimist. I really am. Like, I'm truly like the guy that always likes to look at the brighter side of things, and this is not like me. So the fact that you're saying this means a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I can see it. You know, Game 3 is going to be huge.
Oh yeah.
How do they come out? Do they put this behind them and come out and play like they're capable of at home? Right. They do that. They win a game without a lot of difficulty. You know, then to me, it's a series again.
Yeah.
They'll have some momentum. They'll feel better about themselves. They'll have another game at home coming up next where they can even up the series. If they, obviously, if they come out and lose Game 3, it's over. Nobody comes back from 0-3. That only happens in the NHL.
Yeah. Yep.
But and even if they win Game 3, but it's not very impressive, they kind of get lucky at the end or something, that won't be good. But if they come out and play like they mean it, play like they're capable of, and put those first 2 games behind them.
Yep.
And win, with some authority, then I think they got a chance. Now then they can definitely even the series up.
Yes.
And they can win in New York. They were in position to win both of those games.
Right. And
they didn't, and it's not because some, Michael Jordan type figure rose up in New York and just put the game away. The Knicks don't have somebody like that.
That's the thing that bugs me.
I kept thinking during the game tonight, the Sixers are clearly a better team. I mean, they could use some more help off the bench. The bench really didn't give them a whole lot tonight. Baseball. But those guys like Oubre and even Harris, every once in a while, they have a game where they give you a lot, and it just happens intermittently here and there, and it hasn't happened lately. Yep. I mean, they got some guys who can contribute off the bench. Batum had that big game against Miami. That kind of thing can happen.
I do think that their role players are going to step up. I do think that the role players are going to perform well. I agree with that.
And Embiid and Maxey, they're still, meat on the bone. There's still more they could do.
Yeah.
They haven't played their best game.
No. And Maxey, for what it was, I thought actually overall played really well tonight. Considering that he had the flu and he wasn't at shoot around today, he almost had a triple-double. He really, it is one thing to say that they didn't show effort tonight And it's another thing to say that they left meat on the bones. Because I do think that think that they gave it their all. I'm not questioning their work ethic. I still think that they left a couple of things, though. A couple of players left some things there. I think Maxey gave it his all. I think that Joel gave most of it. But again, it's just that this is how sports go. And these guys are right. Even in baseball, you still do come back. You can still come back from 3-0 deficits. Funny and Palace said it did happen in MLB. I'm a Yankees fan, and I know. So obviously he knows what that's like. But yes, no, I understand. I understand what you're saying. I get it.
And don't forget that 3-0 comeback in baseball. That was one of the most cursed teams in sports.
Yeah,
the Red Sox, and they did it. Yeah. Against, the opposite, the most successful team in sports.
Don't forget about the Cleveland, even the Cleveland Indians. Are you talking about the 07 Indians at the time?
No, I'm talking about the 04, 03 or 04 Red Sox.
Yeah,
they came back from 3-0 against the Yankees.
Oh, yeah.
Down 3-0.
Yeah.
And that was the Red Sox-Yankees, It's inevitable. The Yankees are going to break their hearts again.
And they did it against Cleveland, too. And they did it against Cleveland too in 07, and they won the World Series that year as well. I don't know if you remember that, but that was the same exact thing. Yeah.
The Red Sox Yankees, that was the first time a team in baseball had come back from 3-0. Down.
It's crazy. Funny and Palace says, I love the city of Philadelphia and my people in Philly, but I have no sympathy tonight. I don't know what that means, but it was definitely a heartbreaker. I don't know. I don't know what game you were watching, but it was a heartbreaker.
I think Philadelphia had more than their share of heartbreak. You just want to see things go right for them one time. You want to see Embiid come out and dominate and play like he did during the season and just be that Superman,
Funny and Powell
have a humongous game.
I just wanted to say, Funny and Powell did say that loss is still devastating. So I guess that he wasn't talking about the loss. I guess he was talking about maybe just the play, at the end. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But no, what were you going to say? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to make sure I clarified that.
I don't know. I was just saying for Philadelphia's sake, you just want to see somebody come through and finish it. The Phillies should have finished it last year, and they didn't.
Yeah.
And the Eagles were 10-1 and then completely fell apart. They had the top seed pretty much locked up. They'd been to the Super Bowl the year before. It was like a done deal just about. It was like they're going back to the Super Bowl,
Yep.
And then that completely falls apart, So that's the Eagles, the Phillies.
And even the Flyers. Honestly, an 11-game losing streak at the end of the year. I'm sorry.
I don't think they weren't contenders for the Cup, but they were going to outplay expectations and actually make the playoffs. Yeah. And that's really promising going forward. Next year, be this is a team that nobody expected to make the playoffs.
Yep.
And look what they did. And then at the end, they completely fall apart like the Eagles did, just completely fall apart.
Right.
And you're like, what the heck? When is one of these teams? They're all in a position to get it done. They've got players. They've got everything.
Got the right makeup.
And I just want one of them. I want the Sixers to make the finals. I want the Phillies to make the World Series this year and win it like they should have done last year.
I'll be honest.
I just want one of these things to happen one time. It holds you over for a few years. When the Phillies won the World Series in 1980, from the mid-'80s to the early '90s, they had 10 years where they were just also Rams. But it didn't matter that much. I was like, yeah, but we won a World Series after 198 years. We finally won a World Series. So I can take a decade of mediocrity of not making the playoffs every year. It holds you over for a while. The Sixers come through and make a great run and win a championship.